Emma loved her job at Bright Tech Solutions. She was a dedicated project manager, and her career meant everything to her. Every morning, she arrived early at the office, greeted her colleagues, and started her tasks with energy and focus. Emma believed that working hard would bring her happiness. Her husband, Ryan, noticed how busy Emma had become. They rarely spent evenings together because Emma often stayed late at the office. Ryan tried to understand, but he missed the closeness they once had. Emma's work became more than a job. It started to fill her heart and mind. At the office, Emma worked closely with Mark, a talented designer. Mark admired Emma's dedication and often stayed late to help her with projects. They laughed together, shared coffee breaks, and exchanged messages about work. Emma felt a strange comfort in Mark's attention. She didn't realize how much she depended on these small moments for happiness. One Friday evening, Emma's office arranged a team dinner. Ryan asked her to come home early, but she refused. "I have deadlines," she said, smiling. At the dinner, Mark complimented her on her hard work. Emma felt proud, and her heart warmed. She realized she enjoyed Mark's company more than her husband's lately. It was subtle, but she felt a shift. Emma returned home late that night. Ryan was asleep on the sofa, waiting for her. She looked at him and felt guilty but didn't know how to change. Her work had become her comfort, her excitement, and slowly, her emotional escape. Little did she know, this emotional connection to Mark was the beginning of a secret she could never tell. Purpose of Section 1. Introduce characters, establish the growing emotional distance between Emma and Ryan, and show how Emma's attachment to work and Mark begins. Weeks passed, and Emma's relationship with Mark grew closer. They often texted after office hours, discussing work and life. Mark made Emma feel seen and appreciated, something she hadn't felt at home for months. Every message from him made her heart beat faster. One evening, while working late on a project, Mark suggested they grab dinner nearby. Emma hesitated, thinking about Ryan waiting at home, but she said yes. They laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed each other's company. Emma felt alive in a way she hadn't in years. She told herself it was just friendship, but deep inside, she knew it wasn't. Ryan noticed Emma's absence more often. He tried to spend time with her, planning small weekend trips, but Emma often declined. "I have work," she said, a phrase she now repeated without thinking. Ryan began to feel lonely and confused. He couldn't understand why Emma was drifting away. Emma started comparing Ryan and Mark. Ryan was loving but predictable. Mark was exciting and attentive. The boundaries Emma once had blurred slowly. One night, while Ryan was asleep, Emma sent Mark a text. "I wish you were here." Her heart raced as she pressed send. She felt guilty immediately, but also thrilled. She didn't know how to stop herself. At work, colleagues noticed Emma's distraction. She laughed less and smiled more at Mark. She didn't realize that what started as emotional support was turning into infidelity, at least emotionally. The line between friendship and love was disappearing, and Emma felt trapped in her own feelings. Purpose of Section 2. Show emotional infidelity forming, illustrate the tension between Emma's feelings for Mark and her marriage with Ryan, and prepare the emotional climax. One rainy evening, Emma and Mark stayed late again. The office was empty, and the city lights reflected in the windows. They laughed and shared stories, and suddenly, their hands touched. Emma froze. She knew this was more than friendship. Mark leaned closer, and she didn't move away. Meanwhile, Ryan was at home, waiting for Emma. He had made her favorite dinner, hoping she would come early. When she didn't return, he called her. Emma's phone buzzed with Mark's message at the same time. "Can we meet? Just for a little while." Her heart told her yes, but her mind thought of Ryan. Confused and guilty, Emma chose Mark. At a nearby cafe, they sat together, holding hands under the table. Emma felt alive but ashamed. She knew what she was doing was wrong. Ryan's voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of promises and love. But the excitement of Mark and the comfort of her emotional escape were too strong. When Emma returned home late, Ryan was waiting by the door, worried and sad. He asked gently, "Is everything okay?" Emma smiled weakly and whispered, "Yes, just tired from work." But Ryan could see the truth in her eyes. He didn't say anything. That night, they slept in silence. Emma's heart was torn between the life she had built and the emotions she had discovered. Purpose of Section 3. Highlight the emotional climax and moral tension. Show the first step of crossing emotional boundaries, and depict Ryan's quiet suffering. Emma realized that her work and her feelings for Mark had taken over her life. She was losing her marriage and her sense of self. One morning, while looking at Ryan asleep beside her, she felt a surge of guilt. She remembered why she fell in love with him: the kindness, the support, and the quiet love that didn't seek attention. Emma decided to confront her feelings. She stopped texting Mark after work and took a day off to spend with Ryan. They walked in the park, talked about small things, and shared laughter that reminded her of their early days.